Hello there. This is our last chance to breathe the air of freedom. Enjoy it while you can. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. You may think that it is all normal here, and that the events unfolding in Australia, Austria, Greece, Germany and right across Europe are their problems. Alas, how wrong you are. However, I can understand why you would think life is sort of normal, because when you turn on the TV or gaze down with a sore neck at your smartphone, the ads are there for the supermarkets and the remaining department stores we have, with all of them touting their wares for their share of your earnings this Christmas. And I see articles online debating which shop sells the nicest minced pies and the plumpest of turkeys. It couldn't look more normal in the run-up to Christmas, could it? Yet underneath it all, life is very far from normal. And when the proposed mandate makes its way into law across the EU, you will find that life is not normal, not even close. The last time Europe looked this normal, it was the 1930s, and we ended up mobilising the entire nation to fight against that evil. Yes, that version of normal started out with one section of society being vilified and segregated from the rest of society, and we all know what happened next, while the masses looked on in fear, hoping they would not be next. Does that sound familiar to you? And how about those shops that are vying for your trade this Christmas? Many of you watching this video might not be able to gain access to them for much longer, unless you do as you are instructed and get your McRooster McBooster. But if not enough of you do just that here in the UK, if not enough of you comply, then it will be hammer time. Oh yes. Tory MP and co-chair of the Tory party, Oliver Dowden, told Julia Hartley-Brewer on Talk Radio this morning that the government did not want to contemplate a mandate because he said we have the tools available to prevent that. But his final words on the matter were that as long as we all comply and keep taking the McRooster McBooster, the government won't have to contemplate doing an Austria here in the UK. And I take that as a threat. I take that as being told we all either keep on taking it willingly or they will make it compulsory by law. That is not freedom. And it sounded to me like they've been considering and discussing this route for quite some time. Wonder if they've been talking to other governments about it too. And his words of keep taking it also reinforces that this is not a temporary one-off event. But at last we have the media asking the question of, would the government make it compulsory? We need more of this to get a straighter answer. So a double stamp on your, let's call it a loyalty card. 2 stamps on your loyalty card will soon not be enough. No, it will take a 3rd stamp, and then a 4th, to build up the required points for what would be your day release from prison. Just look at what's happening in Germany right now. Because without those regular stamps on your loyalty card, you will be shown the red card at the shop door, the red card at the cinema, the red card at that football game, the red card at the doors to the airport. Oh yes. So if you signed up to having your double stamp, but don't have your 3rd stamp, you will find yourself officially red carded out of society. Think I'm being sensationalist? Sorry, but I don't regard handing my bodily autonomy over to the state as a matter to be taken lightly. The whole idea that a person could lose their own personal freedoms and be removed as an active participant in this society because they refuse to hand their self-autonomy over to a faceless external authority is abhorrent and very sinister. So if you choose not to comply and follow the plan, I suggest you enjoy this Christmas as best you can. Go to the pub, walk the streets, dance with those you love, and go to the cinema. Because this may be the last Christmas you ever get to enjoy in any real form, unless you bow down and do as you are ordered to do. A growing number of people are watching what is happening and suspect what is to come and are rightfully dreading it. But any protest or argument against it is being slowly but surely shut down. And the closer it gets, the harder it will be to oppose it. Because when it becomes law in one country, governments will force social media and the press to bring the curtain down on debating and discussing it. It might even become illegal for a political party to campaign on a platform of reversing it. Governments across this planet appear to be fully in favour of this, and political opposition across the world does not argue meaningfully against it. I mean, is Labour against it? And how long before we extend this procedure to embryos? God help us all. And talking about political opposition, here we go again in the UK with the two-party state. But before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. So once again, the two-party state wins. Once again, voters who are becoming disillusioned with the performance of Boris Johnson's Tories have taken the easy, well-worn path of just choosing Red Labour instead. But not because Labour looks any better than the Tories, but just because that's what voters always do in a two-party state. Yesterday, voters went to the polls in the Old Bexley and Sidcup by-election, brought about by the death of Tory MP James Brokenshire. Brokenshire had enjoyed a majority of nearly 19,000 from the 2019 general election, with 64.5% of the vote, with Labour in second place and the Lib Dems in third, both saving their deposits. But yesterday saw the Tory majority slashed to 4,478, with just 51.5% of the vote. And this time, Labour was second, but Richard Tice, representing his new party Reform UK, came third with 6.6%. All the other parties, including the Lib Dems and the Greens, lost their deposits. At the end of the day, Louis French lost 13% of the vote for the Tories, and Labour's Daniel Francis gained 7.4% for his party. With the gain made by Tice making up most of the difference, his party having not stood before. Now, a couple of things of note. In general, the incumbent party never wins a by-election. Until this year, that is, where the Tories have managed to gain Hartlepool from Labour as well as yesterday's Hold. That's 2 mid-term wins, unprecedented. And that brings me on to the next point. Surely to win in such circumstances, the governing party, the Tories, must be doing everything right. They must be leading the country to great glory and prosperity for the electorate to have such faith in them. Boris must be handling Brexit so well despite the Northern Ireland Protocol, and his ability to control the English Channel issue must be superb. The Boris Johnson late and instant conversion to the Green agenda must also be a shattering success with the voters. But have we actually seen any of that? Have we seen a masterful performance from Boris and his team? In any other setting, would the electorate not have punished them during mid-term by-elections? Were all the allegations of Tory sleaze just forgotten? Or was it that, although voters are not best pleased with the blue option, they looked across at the rest and were even less convinced of their ability to do any better? Especially when looking at the Labour proposition. Keir Starmer is hamstrung in his attempts to lead a party that at its core would much rather see the ousted Jeremy Corbyn at its head. And most people are well aware of the hard left tendencies of the majority of that party. And they're also very well aware of how anti-Brexit Labour is as well. Oh, they can talk all they like about not looking to rejoin the EU, but give them a working majority and they'll sign us back under Brussels control in a heartbeat, even if it means just being a rule taker with no real say. They also know that Labour would wield the scalpel to separate the voters at the moderately wealthier end of the spectrum and above from their money. And they know that Labour would instinctively make the Tory national debt pile look like a molehill in comparison to what they have planned. And as to tax, voters also know that the issue of channel crossings, so far unaddressed by the Tories, would only get worse under Labour, resulting in a formal, endless procession. And this is one issue that the big parties will never address, even though it is becoming the number one concern with the silent majority of the British people. And all the people know this. As I see it, the Tories got a well-deserved bloody nose. Tice was given the benefit of the doubt and gifted enough votes to cause the Tories some concern. But Labour was used as the throwaway hammer. The Tories were told to buck their ideas up or face a communist takeover at the next general election, while the Labour lot were basically told, "We've used you to send a message, but we don't trust you to act in our interests." Even with this only being one seat in an 80-seat majority, the voters still did not plump for Labour. But they also did not go for any of the other parties in any real numbers. Now, many do see this as a springboard for Labour to win the next general election in 2024, with talk that this could mean a Labour government next time and Boris Johnson losing his seat. But I'm not so sure. A one-off by-election is one thing, but do you really think the Labour Party, as presented to you today, would really win a general election when the chips were down and the country's whole future was at stake? Somehow, I doubt it. I really doubt it. So what's your opinion on you keeping your freedoms? Please like and comment below.